guys, it's Avery here, and today we are going to be doing my 2018 TBR, sort of. I normally each month read about 3 books. I read 1 book for RT, I read 1 book for my book club at school, and then I read 1 personal book. That is almost as much as I can fit into a month. But sometimes I can squeeze another personal book in. But that's practically all of the books I get to read in a month. So that is how it works for me. So we're going to be going through all the books that I want to read in 2018. I don't know if I'll get to all these. There's like a bunch of them that I really want to get to and I haven't been able to get to in the past few years. So let's go. The first book that I really want to read is Language of Thorns by Leigh Bardugo. This one is her like fairy tale stories from the Grisha world, and they're so good. I have started reading them. I read the first 2. They were both really good. I really enjoyed them a lot. I read The Two Clever Fox and The Witch of Duva, and I also read Amia and the Thornwood. So I have like 4 stories left, and I really want to finish this one before I meet Leigh Bardugo at the North Texas Book Festival event. So that is why I'm really trying to plow through this one before, I think it's April. So that is why I really want to read this one, along with I Love the Grisha World. The next book that I really want to read is Caravela by Stephanie Garber. I met her in June, and I've talked about this book so many times. It's just I have not had the motivation to read it till now. I read Ace of Shades last month, and it was so good, and everyone says that Caravela is like Ace of Shades is like Caravela. But I loved Ace of Shades, and if Caravela is like Ace of Shades and Ace of Shades is like Caravela, I like Caravela. So I really want to get into this world and read it. I have the book signed by her, and the next book coming out, Legendary, is coming out, and I feel like I need to catch up on what I missed to be able to read Legendary when it comes out. So that is this, and it's a really cool mystery with magic and like a carnival and games, and she loses a sister and she has to go look for her, and I'm really interested in this whole story, so I really want to go pick this one up. The next book on my TBR is Tower of Dawn by Sarah J. Maas. This one is Chaol's story of the Throne of Glass world, and for some reason I did not read it when it came out, and I have no motivation to read it. I understand the last Throne of Glass book is coming out this year, but it's not coming out till August, but I still want to read this one this year. But I have no motivation to finish the series for some reason. I love the characters. I love the whole story plot. Everyone loves it. I just feel like the hype for the series is dying in me for some reason. But I really want to try and read this book. I really do. So that is why it's on my TBR list for this year. The next book I really want to read this year is Renegades by Marissa Meyer. This is supposed to be a superhero YA novel, but the only thing I have problems with about this is it's super thick and huge. This book feels like a mammoth. Like, it's so big. Here's some perspective. Here's Caravela. Here's Renegades. Renegades, Caravela. They're the same height and everything. Renegades is like 2 times thicker. I understand. It's just the big books just kill my motivation for some reason. But I really want to read this one. I saw that my friend Ashley read this one and she liked it, so I'm really interested in picking it up. So that is why it is on my TBR. The next book on my TBR is Kiss of Deception by Mary Pearson. I have read this book. I read the whole series, but her new book is coming out in, I think, either July or August, and I really want to read this one and get the feel of the world again and just fall in love with these characters all over again. So I really want to read Kiss of Deception again, because Kiss of Deception is the first book where she doesn't know who's who, and where you don't know who's who, like who's the prince and who's the assassin, and I really just want to see what that feels like to know who everyone is and still read the book. So I really want to just read this one just to be back in the world and just to feel the love that I have for these characters and for this environment. The next 2 books I want to read are by Jennifer E. Smith. These are the 2 books by her that I have not read yet. It is The Geography of You and Me and Hello, Goodbye, and Everything in Between. I read her other books, but these are the two that I have not read by her, and I'm pretty sure she's going to be at North Texas Teen Book Festival again this year, so I really would like to finish these before I go and speak to her again, and I just would like to have read all of her books before I go to North Texas. I know it's like very like high up expectations of myself, but I really want to do it, so that is why these are on my TBR. This one is about two best friends who are not. It's about a girl and a boy in a relationship, and they've been dating while they're in high school, but they're being separated to go to college, so it's them going through all their memories that they spent together in the last few years, deciding if they want to stay together or if they should break up going into college. And the Geography of You and Me is about a relationship between Owen and Lucy, who meet at a party in New York City and then are pushed apart from each other. Lucy is forced to move abroad with their parents. Owen has to go somewhere else, and it's them trying to get back together and trying to reunite and see each other again. So I think this one will be really interesting, and they're trying to keep in touch through like postcards and emails. I think this one sounds really good. I think I'll read this one first if I do end up reading these. Okay, and then the next book, I talked about this one in book 2. It's The Chaos of Standing Still by Jessica Brody. This is the third Jessica Brody book I have. I really want to read this one because I love Jessica Brody's other books, Boys of Summer and Some Other Life, so I feel like I really like this one as well. So I'd like just to read this one and say I've read all the Jessica Brody books on my shelf. I know she has another book called The Week of Mondays, but it's like Groundhog Day mixed into like teenage and YA sort of stuff, and I'm not sure I'll be interested in that one, but I really do want to try and read this one. So that is why this one's on my TBR. And these are just some wishful thinking books that I wish I had time to read, or wish that I had the motivation to finish or read right now. The first one of that is The 1000th Floor by Catherine McGee. What I love about this one is one of the main characters, it has my name. And I love, yeah, see? Where is it? Avery Fuller? Avery. So that is one of the reasons why I really, really want to read this one. I am just not sure a whole too much about this book. I have a friend who says the author is amazing, and she's read this book. I know that the third book is coming out this year, so I feel like it's a good time to start this one right as this trilogy is about to end. And I think it's sci-fi, but I'm not really sure on the whole premise. I know it has to deal with a caste system of like who's the higher up and who's below that, and a group of teenagers, and it's supposed to be like really like pretty fantasy, pretty sci-fi, so I really want to try and read this one. I love all of the cover designs, they're just so gorgeous, and I think this one's going to be a great book if I find the time to read it. This one upsets me a little bit. It is Take Me On by Candy McGarry. I love Candy McGarry's books, and I started reading this one because it was the third one in like the Pushing the Limits group, and I was like, okay, yes, last book of the Candy McGarry books that I have on my shelf, I need to finish this and read it right away. So I started it, got about 50 pages in, and I didn't like the boxing aspects of it, and I didn't like how the situation either of the characters were in. I also only read the first 50 pages, but it just didn't feel, romancy, or like I didn't click with the characters well enough is probably a better terms for it. I didn't click with the characters better enough to like continue on and keep reading this book. So I really do want to finish this book, but I have the lack of support for these characters, and the connection I have with them is lacking, is what I'm trying to say. And then the last book for my TBR of 2018 is Always and Forever Laura Jean. I read the other two books, which is P.S. I Love You and P.S. I Still Love You and To All the Boys I Loved Before. I've read those two books, but this one came out in May of last year. I got it like the week of its release, and I've had it since then. I just don't know why, but I have not picked it up and read it. I normally love Laura Jean's and Peter's relationship. I just have not had the motivation to pick this one up or the want to finish out the story. I don't know if it's just because I don't want the story to end, or I don't know. There's not have been that many people talking about this book, in my opinion, that I've heard, so I don't know. I think it's just me, and like psychologically, I don't know. But I really would like to finish this one this year as well, and just say I've finished this series. Yeah, I love Laura Jean. So those are all the books that I want to read in 2018. Comment down below what is the #1 book that you want to read in 2018. I would love to know. I am so busy with the 3 books I have to read a month, but I am hoping I can squeeze these in my free time, so that is what I want to do. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a big thumbs up and subscribe down below. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time. Bye, lovelies!